Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for tuning in for another episode of Bowtie Certified, where we follow the journeys of others through certifications and how learning has given them great benefits. My name is Anthony Tavelis. I am a trainer for Google Cloud and a course creator. And today I have a special guest, Linnea Johnson. Linnea, thank you for joining us on the show.
Thanks for having me, Anthony.
So how I met Linnea is, you could say interesting. We actually met through work, back at a consulting firm that I was working for. Linnea was my manager and leader, and a fantastic one at that, might I add.
Thank you so much.
I speak the truth, and I had to say it.
Well, you are missed, and you are welcome to come back at any time.
Thank you. I appreciate that. So yeah, Linnea and I had worked together, back when I was creating courses in the enterprise space and helping people achieve certifications and, gain some higher learning so that they can better their skills and enable them to give our customers better support for exactly what it is that they're working on. So again, thank you, Linnea, for joining us. I don't want to steal your thunder, so I'm just going to let you chat it up. What were you doing before diving into the tech industry, and what made you decide that this was your path?
So before joining the tech industry, I actually had several different roles in various industries, really. And going back to college, I actually double majored in business and economics in Scandinavian studies, of all things. And so not very tech focused at all. And after that, I actually thought I wanted to go to law school. So yes.
Even I didn't know that.
Really? Yeah. So I worked for a big law firm right out of college. And then I had a couple other roles. For example, I taught English in Thailand. I also worked in sales and marketing for a luxury jewelry company. So my past was kind of all over the place. However, with each role, I learned something new about myself. And as you look back, you can kind of connect those dots. And they were all pointing me to the tech industry, right? Wow. For example, that big law firm, I recognized a couple of things. One, it was much more traditional, hierarchical. You don't want to challenge the status quo. And I was like, no, I think I want to be in an environment where that is celebrated, right? Where you are challenged to really push boundaries and ask those questions. And with each role too, there was an element of working with technology that I really enjoyed. And so I kept kind of following that passion.
And so what kind of drew you into the technology industry?
Yeah, like I said, I really wanted to, for one, work with smart people. Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of smart people in the tech industry. I wanted to work with creative people too. And also, like I said, in this environment that's very innovative and where you can bring your creativity. And like I said, you're really encouraged to challenge that status quo. So that's really what led me to the tech industry.
Cool. Was there a specific strategy that you had going into the tech industry that allowed you to flourish?
Well, to break into it, I'll kind of talk about that. So I would look at it as my strategy was really, let's say, in 3 points here. So one would be location, which it doesn't matter as much now, right? Given the virtual world that we're finding ourselves in. But I chose to move to Seattle, which was a tech hub, or is a tech hub. Even, when I moved up here, it was a bit more up and coming, but major tech hub. So I knew that I'd be able to be exposed to that and meet a lot of people who are working in the tech industry, which leads me into my second point, which is networking. So that's really how I was able to get my first job and learn what opportunities even exist. So even before I moved to Seattle, I was up in Seattle networking with my contacts, so the people that I knew, and then I would ask for referrals to other people within their network too. So I was doing a lot of informational interviews,
Nice.
a lot of people out to coffee, and just hearing people's story too, to understand how they got into the tech industry.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
And then my third point there too is really looking at transferable skills, right? So, like I said, I was working in several different industries with different roles, but I picked up a lot of transferable skills that I could leverage in the tech industry.
What did you find were some really good transferable skills from what you had that applied to the tech industry?
So a couple things. For example, the first job that I ended up getting, which was and I'll talk a little bit about it, a contract position with Amazon. The person that hired me actually said, I had worked for a small business just before joining, and he said that's actually an asset to the organization at this point because they were really growing. It was Amazon Web Services, so they were at that point where they are really accelerating their business. And so I had to wear many hats, be very scrappy, and always consider that bigger picture, but then also be able to dive into the details and get things done.
That's
So
awesome.
that was, yeah.
That's awesome.
Thanks there.
Yeah, I did want to touch on the networking aspect. I mean, as you know me very well, Linnea, I really love people, and I think that networking is such a key part of finding the specific role that you are meant to do. And in order to do that, if you don't network, then you're kind of missing out.
I fully agree. And I'm not one of those people that, I don't love to network, right? Traditional networking when we think about that. But I love hearing people's stories. And like I said, so that was my tactic, was just to meet people, understand where they've been and how they got to where they were at, and learn from them as well. And if there was a good match, or if they, had someone they could connect me with, that's kind of, yeah, the strategy that I did. But I didn't go into it being like, let me network my way into it.
It's kind of I guess a thing that happens over time. You realize how important it is, so you continue to do it.
Yep, absolutely. And me too. I love meeting new people. So for me, it was, a lot of fun too.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So was your job at Amazon Web Services, was that your first job in tech?
Yes, it was. So the other part of it was a contract position. So I did choose, I was like, you know what? I can learn from this. It'll once again grow my network, and I can take whatever I learn into that next role. And so, yeah, it was a contract position. It was actually in marketing. So once again, utilizing my previous role, which is more of a sales and marketing role, to get that job in the tech industry. And I helped build their sponsorship program, which, if you've been to AWS reInvent or any of their summits, I helped build the when you go into the expo hall, or if you see any of the billboards with different
I do see them.
I'm sure you love the swag. That's what you love.
Of course.
You know all about it.
The swag. I mean, come on.
But yeah, it gave me a great insight into the partner ecosystem, so the partner side of the technology industry, and it was a really, really great opportunity, and it was for Amazon Web Services when they were growing. So I got to see several different parts of that business and meet all kinds of new people. So.
Just out of curiosity, how long ago was that?
Oh, 6 or 7 years ago.
Yeah, so Amazon Web Services was just coming on. Well, they're coming on the scene strong.
Yes, yeah, really accelerating.
Yeah, definitely. So I noticed on your LinkedIn profile that you had more certifications than I thought you did. You want to talk about those a little bit with the audience?
Sure. Yeah. So for starters, I do have the AWS Cloud Practitioner certification. Yes. And there's so a bit of a backstory there. They had just introduced it at AWS reInvent, I think in 2017, maybe.
Oh, okay.
2017 or 2018. I can't remember. But that was in late November, early December, and I was going to go on vacation in kind of mid-December through the end of the year. And one of my colleagues who was at reInvent challenged me to get the certification before leaving for Christmas winter break. And so I took him up on the challenge, and I ended up just studying for my certification that week, and probably around 8 to 10 hours, and then just sat for my exam on a Saturday and left on that Sunday. So kind of a fun story there. And then, yeah, I also have my Scrum certification. So I'm a certified Scrum Master. And then I'm certified in ProSci Change Management as well.
Wow, just all over the map. I love it, Linnea.
Yeah. But I use all of those skills in my job. So it's kind of a compilation of great certifications that are very useful for me.
That's awesome. And I know that it takes, well, for a person who has quite a few certifications, I know how difficult it is to get them. And so, you working outside of the tech industry, even though you have some certifications that are not tech specific, are difficult. And I want to give kudos to you for actually getting out of your comfort zone and doing that, especially with that challenge. Like that's really amazing.
Yeah, no, thank you so much. I think the certifications are a huge asset and something that should be leveraged just over your career. I think it's a great way to bring extra credibility, right, to what you do and the people that you work with, but then also just to continue learning and advancing your skill sets. So it's a really great way to do that.
And so now, being in the tech industry for several years, how have you seen others with their certifications or even gaining certifications? How have you seen their careers grow, being in talent development?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's impressive. Like a lot of people have been starting to get more certifications, and more have been coming on the map too, right? As the technology grows, the suite of certifications are growing too. And as you know, there are varying levels. So there's something like the cloud practitioner, right, which is more foundational, and then you move more into an associate level, and then a professional. But we've seen a lot of people who get certifications. At times, well, for one, it grows people's confidence, right? So we've seen them from a consulting standpoint. Yes, it's all about doing the work, right, with your clients, but it brings that extra level again of credibility and being able to speak with a bit more confidence of what you're bringing and delivering to the client. Second, I would say at times we've seen people become more or less flight risks, right? Because when you get a certification, you become very desirable to the recruiters in LinkedIn. And so we've seen people really, well, one, grow their skill sets, but then also it opens new doors to different career opportunities. And especially those certifications now that are coming out that are more specialized or more advanced,
yes,
really is a way for people to differentiate themselves in the marketplace too. So if you want to be a machine learning specialist and be known for that, you have that avenue now to do that.
So being in learning and development, what have you seen being the most desired certification from the clients?
It really depends, I would say. It depends on, the project and the specific client. Again, it kind of goes back to those specialized and advanced skill sets.
Mhm.
I think as, again, the suite of certifications are growing, those that are taking that next step to more to specialize, that's probably where you're seeing a little bit more of the benefit. And also those professional certifications, because those are, they're very difficult to get. And more often than not, you need the experience in order to even get those certifications.
Yes.
It comes with, the client knows that you can both take a test, but also deliver the work, right? You've been doing that for several years.
Yeah. Yeah. And again, I focus on this a lot, and that is when you get a certification, it's not just about the certification itself. It's about the learning behind it. And, there's still a lot of people out there that have this notion that I'm going to get a job if I get the certification, you know? And it's, yeah, it'll get you to the interview, but if you don't have the skill set, then you might as well just not apply.
Yeah. And I would say, again, it can open doors,
Yeah,
right? And I think
absolutely.
that's what you want to look at it that way. But it really is about the experience still. So being able to at least demonstrate that you have the skills, that's going to be key.
Perfect. Focusing back on you now. Uh, what other learnings assisted you to be better at your job? So I know you mentioned that you've taken other technical trainings or other trainings in general. What were those trainings, and how did they better you at your job?
Yeah, even before getting into that, I would say, for starters, being in the industry that I am, just asking really good questions, right? So not even just the training piece of it, but I've been learning from my colleagues, from the subject matter experts that I work with, and just others at the company or that I interact with in this industry. And so being able to ask questions and being able to kind of put your ego aside, because I don't know everything, right? That is, and approaching everything with a learner's mindset, right? So starting there, I think that has really helped me, especially because I do work with a lot of, technologists and technical specialists here, and I am non-technical, right? So being able to really learn from them has been really valuable in my current role. And then I would also say I like to be in the know. I don't want to be behind the curve. I want to know what is the latest research, what's happening in the tech industry, but then what's also the trends in the learning and development field and the talent development field. So I am constantly watching webinars. I'm a part of a couple different organizations so that I'm notified if there are any good webinars coming up or new research articles. So I'm trying to stay ahead of everything that way. So I'm constantly learning. And then, of course, because I work with some of the big tech companies, they do offer a lot of courses for our company and through the partnership that we have. So I do take advantage of that as much as possible.
Yeah, I have to say that I have personally seen you really dive into the weeds when it comes to the technical. I think you're short selling yourself when you say that you're not, because you totally are. I mean, every course that I develop, every sliver of something that I did, you always ask those pertinent questions. And that's what I really loved about your leadership style, is that you wanted to understand, why is it that this is pertinent, you know? Uh,
Yep.
so again,
No, thanks for that.
going back to that learning mindset, that's totally key. And, as Scott May was saying, stay curious and always ask questions. It goes back to the networking,
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
it goes back to the humans, right?
exactly. Yep.
Goes back to that human aspect. So Linnea, what does the future look like for you?
Yeah, well, I would say for me personally, I'd like to look at it more of like the tech industry just in general, and then also for me personally. Let's start there. Okay. So in the tech industry in general, right? Because since I'm in it in my field, I'll talk a little bit about that. As more and more customers are migrating to the cloud, there's just a huge need for reskilling, for upskilling current employees, right? Because it's not just the technology that's changing, it's also the people and processes. That's it. And the way that people are doing business now, right? So all of that is transforming. So it's creating a huge opportunity for learning products, learning programs, new ways of upskilling and reskilling people in a more accelerated fashion. And so there's a lot of opportunity there right now. And then, as most of us know on the call, there's a huge need for technical specialists, and that's just growing. So there are more roles out there than people to actually fill them. So again, there's that opportunity to and a need to be able to accelerate people's skills to get more people into this industry. And that also, there's a great opportunity to reach other audiences, right? To bring a more diverse group into this as well. There's a huge opportunity there. So yes, on the more generic side, and then for me personally, so I have a passion for developing other people, right? And like I said, being able to reach others in different communities and those that may not have originally thought that the tech industry would be for them. And so I can see myself, spending more of my time in that area. I also have a passion for looking at the bigger picture too. So, for example, looking at how do you bring government, the education system, and the corporate world together, because that's where some of the gaps exist. And so it's a passion area of mine, and I'd like to potentially explore that a little bit more for my future too.
Yeah, I mean, I'm smiling because it's so needed right now. I mean, I don't know if you've heard or anyone in the live stream has heard, but AWS has taken an initiative to start teaching kids and other people about cloud and upskilling them to make sure that they can deliver, as you said, filling in those gaps where people are needed. And unfortunately, the universities, they're teaching the foundation, which is fantastic. But when you get out of university, people aren't ready to get the current job, to get those current roles that we need filled for our industry.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, so some of the big tech companies are working with community colleges, right? Exploring new ways to bridge that gap between the needs of the corporate world and that in the education system, and looking at really innovative ways to do that. So,
and how do you see the future of learning when it comes to that? Like when it comes to not only the schooling that comes from the big providers like Amazon and Microsoft and Google, but how do you see it in the corporate world themselves, like within the organization?
yeah, I think the organization itself will be take a bigger responsibility in being able to bridge that gap as well. So working with partners, but then also building out their own reskilling and upskilling type programs in order to accelerate those skills. And so we worked on something, right, similar to the Cloud Academy, where we were focused on bringing in more early career consultants and providing that kind of accelerated journey for them to learn new cloud skills. That's just going to expand absolutely within the corporate organizations.
Yeah, speaking of Cloud Academy, I miss my Cloud Academy peeps.
I'm sure they miss you too.
I miss those guys so much. If you're watching, I'm following you on LinkedIn. So whatever you're doing, I'm seeing what's coming up. And if you're accelerating, kudos to you for doing so. And I'm glad I could be a part of your journey. So, Linnea, if you could offer one piece of advice to others who are striving to get into or land a better role in the tech industry, what would it be?
Yeah, again, I'm going back to it's all about relationships, right? And so going back to my experience, really, network, get out there and learn from other people and hear their stories. Ask them for a virtual coffee, right? Reach out to them on LinkedIn or ask your network to see if there's anyone out there and just really start exploring. I would say that's key. But then also, don't forget those certifications, right? It's a great way, like I said, to open doors. So if it is something you're interested in, I really encourage you to go after one of those.
Are you planning on getting into any more certifications?
We'll see. We'll see. I'm sure, right? Because I love to learn, I'm
Right.
sure that I will. I've been thinking about getting my essay associate
Yes.
certification. Yes. But we'll see. See what happens.
Well, I'm here for you if you're planning on doing it. I also know quite a few people who I think could help you on your journey as well. For those of you who do not know, I am part of a Slack channel that my friend Adrian Cantrell has started called Tech Study Slack. And there's a lot of people on here who are watching, who are part of Tech Study Slack. And it is a great group of people, great Slack group where people are studying and people are learning. And they're learning things like AWS, Google Cloud, Terraform, learning about different concepts, different architectures, and everyone is just helping each other out. Great group of people. Highly recommend it. Linnea, if you have a sliver of time, I would recommend that you join in and see what it's all about.
Okay, I'll have to check it out. And I might take you up on your offer for one-on-one assistance too.
Absolutely, absolutely. I know that you are coming up on some deadlines that you got to attend to. So I'm going to end this live stream a little bit short, but I wanted to ask you, what is the best way for others to get in touch with you?
Yeah, if anyone wants to get in touch with me, feel free to reach out on LinkedIn. I think you included that in the promo that you sent out, but if not, we can, they can reach out to you to get my contact info, but you should be able to just find me on LinkedIn. Send me a message. That's probably the best way.
Awesome. Awesome. And if there's any questions, please feel free to ask, and we can definitely get any questions answered. So yeah, other than that, Linnea, I want to really thank you for coming on the show today, and it's been such a pleasure to see you again, and yeah, it's a little bit emotional, I won't lie.
Oh, thank you for having me. This was a great opportunity, and like I said, feel free for your audience to reach out to me on LinkedIn. I'm happy to help. I have a passion for helping people, so any way that I can do that, I would love to.
We actually have a question before you go. Robert Lee is asking the best advice for a new employee joining Slalom or AWS. another one beside networking and certs?
So a new employee joining, is that meaning that you already have been hired, or you're looking at potentially you'd want to join one of those companies?
I'm assuming that it is for joining.
Joining, so they've already been hired.
No, they haven't been hired.
Oh, got it. Again, I know besides networking, I would honestly say the biggest piece of it is being able to build those relationships. So having a good understanding of the culture, right? So definitely dive into that and understand what the values are for both of those companies, so that you can ensure that you're a good fit from a value perspective. And you can get that obviously by researching online, but again, finding people at those companies and really diving in with them and asking those questions. I would also be studying their businesses. I'm sure you already are, but really understand their challenges, where they're at in the marketplace and where they're headed. So always looking at how can you, like, what value are you going to bring to those organizations, and having ideas of what you could be doing, once you get there. But yeah, I would definitely be, studying the organizations, but then also building relationships, if possible, with people at those organizations, so you can really understand what it's like working there.
LinkedIn, baby. LinkedIn.
Yeah, LinkedIn. Yeah.
That's where it's at. I've been telling people this for years.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, getting a hold of people who work for the company, I'm totally for that. I've always done it. If you're interested in a specific company, just reach out to somebody on LinkedIn, say, hey, I'm interested. And you know what? Nine times out of 10, people will respond warmly. Always. Like, I mean,
I agree.
as far as I've my experience, I haven't seen any, negatives, as in, no, I'm not going to help you, or I'm too busy for you, or, usually it's, if people don't get back to you, it's because they're busy, but usually they do. So thank you for that, Linnea. So, if there aren't any more questions, then I'm going to end this live stream. And Linnea, thank you again. I appreciate your time. It was so good to see you again, and I wish you the best on your future. I want to see where you go with it, and if you need any assistance in certifications, where to find me.
Thank you so much. I really enjoyed this.
Thanks, Linnea.
Yep.
And thank you again to everyone for tuning in. Tune in next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. And we'll see you soon. Keep on striving and keep on learning.